Hello, thank you for joining us on the news. I'm Ruth Aguilera. My sign language interpreter is Josiah Abdullahi. Let's start with the headlines. Abuja-Kaduna-Kano Expressway to be completed first quarter of next year to boost trade and economic activities across the country. European Commission wants tax leaders to adapt a harsher global landscape defined by power politics, not patience. And correspondent examines how a land of ice is fast becoming one of the most contested spaces on Earth. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen has warned that EU must adapt to a harsher global landscape defined by power politics, not patience. Speaking to lawmakers, she said the world's balance is shifting permanently, forcing Europe to strengthen its economy. Defenses and strategic influence all risk being sidelined in an increasingly unforgiving international order. Adelbi Obiechena reports.
Addressing the European Parliament, von der Leyen said the international order has shifted permanently, setting instability around Greenland, Russia's ongoing war in Ukraine, and rising tensions from the Middle East to the Indo-Pacific as proof. Europe must show its traditional caution and toughen its economic and military posture. She also warned Washington that conflict between allies will only strengthen Western adversaries, calling U.S. tariff threats simply wrong. Von der Leyen said a downward spiral among partners risks undermining shared security as EU leaders prepare to meet in Brussels to coordinate a unified response.
We will need a departure from Europe's traditional caution, just like we did on energy, on recovering from the pandemic with Next Generation EU, or like we are doing now with defense, with SAFE, or on supporting Ukraine. The world is changing faster, so does our mindset.
With relations strained and global pressure mounting, von der Leyen's message was unmistakable. Europe still preferred dialogue, but in a world ruled by raw power, hesitation is a luxury it can no longer afford. Adobe Obiechina, NTA News.
Russia's interior minister has arrived in Havana in a bold show of solidarity with longtime ally Cuba as U.S. pressures rises, with President Donald Trump warning the communist government is ready to fall. The visit underscores the island's deepening ties with Moscow at a moment of heightened diplomatic tension, with Washington demanding concessions and threatening consequences if Havana does not negotiate. Again, Adelbi Obiechena reports.
Russian President Vladimir Kolokosev meets Cuban President Miguel Diaz-Canel, who described the visit as enormously significant. The Kremlin officials condemned U.S. military action in Venezuela as unprovoked aggression, saying that it highlighted the need for vigilance and cooperation against external pressures. Kolokosev's visits includes strengthening cooperation and coordinating efforts against crime. With Russia and Cuba both under Western sanctions, Moscow seeks new partners and support amid its isolation following its invasion of Ukraine, while Cuba faces economic strain and diplomatic pressure over its tie with Russia, China, and Iran. As Trump intensifies demands and threats, Russia's gesture casts Havana as geopolitical pivot point, reinforcing old alliances while challenging U.S. influence in the Caribbean and beyond. Adobe Obiechena, NTA News.
By name, it suggests life and color. In reality, it is ice, silence, and rising global tension. Greenland, vast, frozen, and once ignored, is now at the center of global power, climate change, and economic ambition. In this report, Justin Bem examines how a land of ice is fast becoming one of the most contested spaces on Earth.
Greenland. The name sounds green, but from above, it is almost entirely white. Ice sheets stretch across the horizon, thicker than skyscrapers, covering nearly 80% of the island. It is the largest island on Earth, yet home to fewer than 60,000 people. For centuries, Greenland sat quietly at the edge of global affairs. Today, it stands firmly at the center. Economically, Greenland survives on fishing, hunting, and annual financial support from Denmark. Though self-governing, the island remains part of the Danish kingdom, with Copenhagen controlling defense and foreign policy. But beneath the ice lies immense promise. Greenland is believed to hold large reserves of rare earth minerals, essential for electric vehicles, renewable energy, smartphones, and modern defense systems. There are also deposits of uranium and other strategic resources, along with possible offshore oil and gas. As climate change accelerates and Arctic ice retreats, access to these resources is improving. New shipping routes are opening through the Arctic, shortening global trade routes and raising Greenland's economic value. This has drawn the attention of the world's major powers. Europe sees Greenland as critical to securing future mineral supplies. China has shown long-term interest in Arctic access and resources. Russia continues to expand its presence across the polar region. And the United States has moved to the forefront of the debate. President Donald Trump has openly argued that Greenland is vital to U.S. national and economic security, pointing to its strategic location and mineral wealth. His renewed comments have triggered diplomatic tension with Europe. Denmark has firmly rejected any idea of selling Greenland. Greenland's leaders have also been clear. The island is not for sale, and its future must be decided by its people. Inside Greenland, the conversation is complex. Many citizens support eventual independence from Denmark, but independence demands economic strength. Mining offers revenue and jobs, yet raises environmental concerns in one of the world's most fragile ecosystems. Foreign investment brings opportunity, but also influence. Meanwhile, Greenland's melting ice carries global consequences. Its ice sheet holds enough water to significantly raise sea levels worldwide, threatening coastal cities far beyond the Arctic. Greenland has become a symbol of a changing world, where climate crisis creates opportunity, and opportunity fuels competition. The land that sounds green may be frozen, but its future will shape global economics, Arctic security, and the balance of power in a warming world. Greenland is no longer distant. It is now impossible to ignore.
Indeed, literally, the land is green. Let's flip to other issues. In a bold move to ease hardship experienced by motorists, the federal government has inaugurated 2 completed road projects under the Emergency Intervention Scheme in Zamfara State. Usman Zubairu will tell us more about that.
The 2 road projects inaugurated are the 600 kilometers access road linking newly commissioned Forest Secretariat Complex and repaired Gusau-Gedendao Road in Zamfara State. The roads are part of the 260 emergency intervention routes identified nationwide, expected to ease traffic flow and enhance connectivity.
To the glory of God, we commissioned this road.
Work on the dualization of Section 3 dual carriageway from Zaria, Funtua to Gusau have reached 52%, while Gusau-Telate Mafara to Sokoto Road, the contractor said it's just 14% stage of completion. The project consists use of steel reinforcement, certain insecurity, and traffic management among the major constraints.
Over 23 road projects going on in Northwest alone. That's to tell you, Mr. President is so concerned about Northwest. All these roads were awarded in 2023.
Doing the earthworks, joining the dualized road so that to open for the traffic, both the two lanes, left and right, so that commuters will be traveling on it.
The Senior Special Assistant to President on Community Engagement Northwest assured communities along the project corridor of the federal government's unwavering commitment to delivering durable, safe, and economically impactful road infrastructure across the region. Usman Zberu, NTA News.
The Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabo, has met with the Director General of the Energy Commission of Nigeria, Dr. Mustafa Abdullahi, as part of strategic engagements with implementing agencies of the National Energy Master Plan to accelerate implementation of the present administration initiatives and align with the country's priority to meet energy needs. The meeting focuses on strengthening institutional collaboration, harmonizing energy policies and regulatory framework, as well as aligning national renewable energy priorities. Also, the strategic engagement explores the opportunity to integrate the Commission research outputs into the Ministry of Power, infrastructure development initiatives through joint implementation and shared resources. The Minister of Power says it is necessary for relevant agencies, particularly Energy Commission of Nigeria and Rural Electrification Agency, to work in synergy to achieve the overall objective of energy sufficiency in the country. The Commission is currently implementing the Renewed Hope Solarization Program, the National Energy Master Plan, and the National Energy Policy, which the DG of the Commission gives an update on the implementation, emphasizing the need for inter-agencies collaboration to advance Nigeria's energy sector for improved supply. A bit of politics here. The PDP presidential ticket for the 2027 general election is open to every member of the party from the south, including former President Goodluck Jonathan. National chairman of the party, Tanimu Turaki, gave the assurance in Abuja after meeting with former Vice President Namadi Sambo. Timothy Yusuf reports.
A closed-door meeting that lasted for a few hours between the Turaki-led National Working Committee, accompanied by Board of Trustees members and some leaders, and former Vice President Namadi Sambo in his Abuja residence. Turaki briefed the media on the outcome of the meeting with the former VP.
The most important thing for us is the assurance that His Excellency had given us, that he is and will continue to remain a member of the PDP. And His Excellency had assured us that very soon that he will become more active than he used to be.
Reacting to the dismissal of the party former National Secretary Samuel Anyanwu case at the FCT High Court, Turaki said it is a vindication for the PDP family.
The judgment of Justice Umar had vindicated us in PDP that yes, we are the genuine leaders of PDP, had vindicated us that yes, our convention was legitimately done, had vindicated us that indeed people cannot just go in one corner and then begin to ascribe to themselves that the leadership of a political party. This is not a market association.
Turaki is confident the rebuilding process of the PDP is yielding results, and consultation with party members is an ongoing process to have strong footing in the 2027 exercise. Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
All right, let's take a break. We'll be back. Stay tuned. Welcome back. The judiciary, as a third arm of government, offers a platform for anyone having disputes over litigated matter to obtain judicial remedy. But judiciary analysts observe that the duty of implementing judicial pronouncements lies within the ambit of court registrars. Hence, the Chief Justice of Nigeria is seeking visible improvement in their performance.
Eniola Akombi is a judicial officer, the Chief Registrar of the Supreme Court of Nigeria. His schedule of duties include handling, supervising administrative court functions, and overseeing the registry. Working under judges and justices, court registrars like him oversee court documentation. The efficiency of the work could significantly affect court operations.
Judicial excellence must be matched by administrative efficiency. Without professional, integrity-driven, and technology-enabled court administration, the promise for justice cannot be fulfilled.
At a retreat for chief registrars of courts across the country, Chief Justice of Nigeria outlined readiness to modernize their operations with innovative ICT tools.
Each and every one of you in your various courts can think of innovative ways to make your job more effective and more efficient.
What was sufficient knowledge 5 years ago is inadequate today. I urge each of you to embrace continuous learning.
I recommend very seriously that a survey should be conducted to get very accurate feedback from the people we serve. What do they want us to do?
The court registrars are hopeful that by adapting use of automation necessary for efficient justice dispensation, modernization of the judicial arm will be on course.
Justice Mohammed Umar of the Federal High Court has admitted the Bauchi State Finance Commissioner and 3 others to 100 million naira bill in the alleged $9.7 million terrorism financing. Judiciary correspondent Austin Ayimbe reports.
Ruling on the bail application filed by the Bauchi State Commissioner for Finance, Yakubu Adamu, and his co-defendants, Justice Mohammed Umar held that the defendants had placed sufficient materials before the court for the court to exercise its discretion in their favor, judicially and judiciously. Justice Umar directed the defendants to produce 2 sureties each, who must be a permanent secretary and a director in the civil service. The judge ordered the defendants to deposit their international passports with the court registry and ordered them to be reporting to the Department of State Services, DSS office in Bauchi State every Monday until the case is determined. He adjourned the matter to February 26, 2026 for commencement of trial. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, had preferred a 10-count terrorism financing and money laundering charge against Adamu and 3 others. The funds were alleged to be used in whole or in part to finance a terrorist or a terrorist group. The offense is contrary to Section 26, subsection 1, and punishable under Section 21, subsection 2A of the Terrorism Prevention and Prohibition Act 2022. From the Federal High Court, Abuja, Austin Ayimbe, NTA News.
The 3-man FCT Area Council's Election Appeal Tribunal, we hear, has been put in place. The Appeal Tribunal, under the Nigerian law, serves as an appellate court for election disputes relating to the FCT Area Councils. Delia Tumbi of our Judiciary Desk reports.
Members of the 3-man panel of FCT Area Council's Election Appeal Tribunal are Justice Suleiman Bolaji Begore, Justice Miriam Aliyu Hassan, and Justice Aliyu Yunusa Shafa. All members of the appeal panel are judicial officers in the High Court of the FCT. Inaugurating the appeal panel tribunal, the Chief Judge of the High Court of the FCT, Justice Hussaini Baba Yusuf, urges the judicial officers to be fair in the discharge of their judicial responsibilities to the appellants and the respondents. Justice Baba Yusuf points out that the centrality of law to democratic legitimacy explains why election adjudication is entrusted to specialized tribunals. He explains that the development is to provide an orderly, credible, and peaceful mechanism for resolving electoral disputes whose mishandling could threaten social cohesion and public trust.
The moral authority of your Lordship's decisions will depend in significant measure on the perceived independence and integrity of your conduct. I therefore charge your Lordships to maintain strict impartiality in the hearing and determination of all petitions, applications, and interlocutory matters. Justice must not only be done, it must be seen to be fairly done. You must uphold the right to fair hearing even under tight timelines. Each party must be afforded equal opportunity to present his case with the established rules.
3 of you will look at the facts of the case clearly and apply the law strictly so that you will arrive at unanimous decisions. The trial tribunal is usually on trial by members of the public.
For members of the FCT Area Council's Election Appeal Tribunal, Justice Baba Yusuf says with their inauguration, they have embarked on a duty that will test their diligence, courage, and character. Adjudication on the forthcoming FCT Area Council's election ends with the verdict of this appeal tribunal. In Abuja, Dele Atumbi, NTA News.
And more from the judiciary. In the Federal High Court, Abuja has restrained Julius Abure from further parading himself as the national chairman of Labour Party and recognizing the Senator Usman Ninadi-led caretaker committee as the legitimate leadership of the party. Justice Peter Lifu, who gave the order, anchored the decision of the court on the April 4, 2025 verdict of the Supreme Court, which nullified Abure's claim to the position. The court therefore ordered the Independent National Electoral Commission to immediately accord recognition to the Ninadi Usman-led caretaker committee as the only lawful authority to act for and represent the Labour Party, pending the conduct of a national convention. The judgment followed a suit instituted by Senator Ninadi Usman challenging Abure's continued stay in office. Justice Lifu held that materials placed before the court clearly showed that Abure's tenure as national chairman of the Labour Party had expired. The court dismissed Abure's arguments that the dispute was an internal party affair. One of the suspects being prosecuted by the Department of State Services alongside Khalid Al-Barnawi and 3 others for being behind the August 26, 2011 bombing of the United Nations building in Abuja has narrated how he joined the Boko Haram terror organization. Well, this was part of his testimonies at the ongoing trial. Let's hear from Austin Ayembe.
At the resumed trial of Al-Barnawi and 4 others on Wednesday, the second defendant, Mohammed Bashir Saleh, in a video recording played before the court, said he joined Al-Barnawi in Bauchi shortly before the attack on the UN building, and that from that moment, their relationship blossomed, resulting in his joining Boko Haram. Al-Barnawi was arrested by the Department of State Services, DSS, in April 2016 in Lokoja, Kogi State, 5 years after the attack on the Abuja UN building. The force of such attack on an international agency's property in the country, which left more than 20 individuals dead and over 70 others injured. At Wednesday's proceedings, the court saw another video recording of the interview section involving Saleh and commenced the cross-examination of the third prosecution witness in the ongoing trial within trial being conducted to ascertain the voluntariness or otherwise of the confessional statements made by the defendants. Under cross-examination by lawyer to the first defendant, the witness identified as TSR3 said he was in the technical department of the DSS and that part of his functions include setting up of audio-video recording machine in the interview room. Justice Nwite adjourned till March 2nd for the continuation of the cross-examination of the PW3 in trial within trial. From the Federal High Court, Abuja, Austin Anyebe, NTA News.
In other news, sustained investment in modern platforms, training and partnerships are aimed at building a more capable, responsive and resilient air force, one that can effectively support joint operations, protect lives and property. The Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Sunday Aneke, affirmed this while advancing the M346 fighter program to strengthen Nigeria's air power in Italy. Defense correspondent Olajide Bello reports.
The Nigerian Air Force is recording significant progress in its fleet modernization drive as the Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Sunday Aneke, engaged Leonardo Aircraft Division in Milan, Italy on the M346 fighter ground attack aircraft program. A statement by the Director of Public Relations and Information, Air Commodore Ehime Ejodame, indicates that Air Marshal Aneke described the program as a critical leap in renewing the NAV's combat capability that will strengthen precision strike operations, improve training outcomes, and reinforce Nigeria's regional deterrence posture through carefully synchronized aircraft delivery and seamless induction into operational service. The visit to Leonardo Helicopter Division, alongside the permanent secretaries of the Ministries of Defense, Richard Filangwa, Finance, senior government officials, and senior NAF officers, underscores the priority President Bola Tinubu places on air power modernization and defense industrial cooperation as critical pillars of national security. At the Leonardo Aircraft Division, discussions focused on the M346 fighter ground attack aircraft program, which the Air Chief described as a major milestone in the ongoing renewal of the NAF's combat fleet. The Air Chief described timely delivery of aircraft-associated spares, ground support equipment, and structured training packages as essential to ensuring rapid operational readiness and sustained mission effectiveness. Andrea Miteto, Senior Vice President, Sales, Leonardo Helicopter Division, assured that the company remains fully dedicated to the timely delivery, sustainment and expansion of cooperation under the AW109 Tracker and M346 programs. Air Marshal Aneke reassured Nigerians that the Nigerian Air Force, in synergy with other services and security agencies, remains unwavering in fulfilling President Tinubu's mandate to decisively address security challenges nationwide. Olajide Bello, NTA News.
And just before we go, let's have a quick check on tomorrow's weather forecast. That concludes the news. Thank you for your time. I'm Ruth Aguele. My sign language interpreter is Josiah Abdullahi.